Welcome to On My Way to Wealth, the podcast where busy Gen Xers can learn financial tips as they navigate life on their way to wealth. And now, please join your host, Luis Rosa.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of On My Way to Wealth. My name is Luis Rosa, and I'm your host. I hope everyone is happy, healthy, and safe. The season to be given is here, right? The holiday season. Now we're all going to start holiday shopping. And I wanted to talk to you guys about some of the things that I usually do with my clients throughout the year before you even get to that point of holiday shopping. Right now, the average household in the United States spends about $1,000 in gifts every year for the holiday season. Now, unfortunately, a lot of people are actually charging on credit cards to buy those gifts because they don't have the money to pay for these. And one negative cycle that I've noticed that a lot of people get into this never-ending feedback loop where they shop around for holidays and their gifts and everything on their credit card, and then they pay those credit cards off when tax season is here. And basically that tax refund never gets used for anything else other than just paying those credit cards that were used a couple of months ago for holidays. And it just never ends, just continues to do that year after year. So instead of doing that, what I do with my clients is that I recommend that they do a budget and they have a category or a bucket for things like gifts and holiday shopping throughout the year. So let me give you an example. Usually when I do a budget with a client, I'll have that conversation like, hey, how much do you think you spend during the holiday season or on gifts throughout the year? Now, nobody usually ever has a straight answer on that. So we have to dig a little deeper and have that conversation. One thing I highly recommend to get to at least a good amount of how much you might need to spend is to first just make a list. And sometimes we go through that in a conversation. All right, well, how many people do you buy gifts for? And you can make a mental list if it's not too many. So some people might say, oh yeah, I buy for my husband, my wife, my nephews, nieces, or my parents, etc. So you write down the people that you buy gifts for. Then you want to attach a maximum dollar value to that. So it doesn't mean that you're going to spend it all, but it's typically around the most that you would spend on that person. And after you go through that exercise, you can include not just holidays, but also birthdays and gifts throughout the year. We come up with a total number that is the maximum amount of money that you think you're going to spend that year. So for simplicity purposes, let's assume that that number is $1,200 a year. So what I tell my clients is, okay, so that's $1,200 a year. If you divide that by 12 is $100 a month. And let's say you get paid twice a month. I say, well, every paycheck, you can simply take $50 and put it in this new savings bucket called your holiday fund, right? Or your gift fund. And now every time it's somebody's birthday or Christmas or any holidays that you celebrate, you can simply just take that money out because you've been saving it all throughout the year. So let's use that example, $1,200 a year, $100 a month, $50 a paycheck. Ideally, you want to start not necessarily in January, because for the most part, you're probably going to start shopping sometime around November, maybe early December. So the sooner you start, the better. If you don't have enough time, you can always use money from other buckets to kind of like kickstart it. For example, your tax return. But let's say you start right now in November, for example. Well, you have until next November now that you're putting this money away. So as people's birthdays come up, et cetera, you just go into that fund, transfer to your checking account so that you can make that purchase and you don't have to worry about charging it. So even though you might use your credit card for it, you're not carrying a balance because you've been saving the cash separately for that. And that's one very easy way for you to come up with the money that you need for holidays without having to worry about using a credit card and then using your tax return to pay for it. It's all about breaking it down into smaller chunks. And I apply that concept to pretty much anything when it comes to financial planning or even your personal lives, even like weight loss, right? If you say to yourself, I want to lose 20 pounds, it might seem like a lot, right? But if you say, I want to lose 2 pounds every 2 weeks, a pound a week, et cetera, it's probably not as hard when you look at it that way. So it's the same concept. Let's save little chunks throughout the year that will add up so that we have enough money to make these purchases. So let me talk about some tips now during the actual holiday season. So it's upon us, right? The first thing I always tell people is revisit your list, because sometimes you might have added somebody, you might have removed somebody from that list, right? And sometimes it's not all bad. Like I have a little policy that I use. Typically, I only do kids now because my family is huge. So I don't buy gifts for adult members of my family except for my wife, right? But like I'm not, I have 5 siblings. I have 14 nephews and nieces. I mean, it could get out of hand. So what I do now is like, once you can drive, you no longer get a gift from me for the most part. Like I think the last gift you get from me is your high school graduation. Then you're on your own after that. So all the small nephews and nieces. Now that's one of my rules, right? So revisit your list, because you might have some rules for yourself that way that some people might have came off that list when you first made it, and some people might have gotten added, right? Newborn, etc. So make sure you revisit your list or make a new one if you don't have one. Then you want to attach a maximum dollar amount to that. So not necessarily an amount that you're saying, okay, I'm definitely spending this. It's more like, all right, I know that I'm not gonna spend more than $50 for this person. That's fine. If you end up spending 40, then you have $10 for somebody else, or just to leave it in the bucket for next year, etc. Right? That's one thing. The second thing is you want to take advantage of free shipping. For example, I always make fun of my mother-in-law. She's gonna kill me. I know she's listening. She always buys all these things. So she goes to every store, buys every item for everyone. We don't live in the same state. So then she ends up buying all these things and then paying a ton of money to then go to the post office and ship these things to us. And sometimes I feel like the shipping is just outrageous. It might be more than some of the gifts in the box. So I always tell her, you can order online and just have it shipped directly to us. Free shipping for you, and you don't have to go to the post office. So it saves you money and time. And now, obviously, during COVID, then one less place that you need to go to and be around people, right? So that's another thing. Now, I know it might take some of the personal touch out, but one thing that you can do is some places, when you shop online, give you an option to gift wrap. So for a nominal fee, you can gift wrap it. Sometimes I feel like that might be cheaper than the overall shipping that you might spend. And also, you can always mail a card separately if you want. So have the item shipped directly from the vendor. So you save time and money. And then you can add the personal touch. Number one, by having a gift wrap. And number two, by then actually sending a card separately from that. So that's one way of saving money. Also, take advantage of special options. There's a lot of days out there like Amazon Prime Day, if you use Amazon, Cyber Monday, etc., where you might be able to just have your list ready. And then the minute those days come about, you log in and you take advantage of all those deals. It's probably a lot better and safer than going out to the stores anyway. And you get to save some money. Another thing you can do is use online coupons. There's a lot of websites out there. A quick Google search, just coupon websites, coupon saving websites will come up with quite a few. And basically the concept is these websites just scan the web and they pick up any coupon code. So at checkout, they apply them to your purchases and you might be able to save some money that way as well. So that's another pretty cool tool. And, lastly, don't pressure yourself to purchase gifts, especially this year if you've had a tough year. A lot of people have been impacted by COVID in many different ways, job losses, etc. And I've seen this with my clients where some people are just not in a position sometimes to buy gifts, but they feel pressure to do so just because of cultural norms. And a lot of the times it might just be self-imposed just because they feel bad. Like, oh, how could I not buy my nephews and nieces a gift, right? And I completely understand that. But I just want you to think about it this way, don't put so much pressure on yourself to buy these gifts, because if you are not in a position to do so and you do it, you're just gonna get yourself in a bigger hole, by having to charge these things, and then you're paying probably double digits in your credit cards. It's just not worth it, right? So there are several things that you can do to navigate that. One thing that you can do is perhaps minimizing the amount you're going to spend, and you can announce it. And I feel like that kind of relieves some of the pressure. You can say, hey, listen, we're not doing gifts this year. That relieves pressure because now you're telling them ahead of time. So that way people don't feel like they need to buy you a gift, because I know that might be in your head. They might still buy you something, but you're saying, look, we're not doing gifts this year. You don't necessarily need to explain it. If they're close to you, they might already know whether you have been laid off, etc. Right? That's one thing. The way you can minimize it too, you can say, why don't we all just do kind of like a secret Santa and put a price number on it? We're going to do it with a maximum of $30 a person or $20 a person. And now you can sort of lock in your cost, right? And also you're doing it jointly with everybody else, and everybody else is spending more or less the same amount of money. So you don't have to feel bad like, oh my God, I only spent $20 on this person and they bought me $100 gift. So that's another way of minimizing it. And then the third way, you can postpone it altogether. Have you ever received a gift when you were not expecting it? Think about it. Imagine it's not your birthday, it's not the holidays, and somebody just gave you a gift. I mean, that feels really, really good, right? You have the power to do that yourself by not giving into the pressure of holiday shopping and maybe waiting until you're in a better situation. Perhaps you lost your job this year. Maybe you just got your job back, etc. Wait until you're in a better situation. Maybe tax season, you get a little refund and you might be able to allocate some of those. Now imagine at that point, then you go ahead and you buy people gifts and all of a sudden you mail it to them or you give it to them and they get these gifts out of nowhere. It's not their birthday. It's not anything. It's going to feel pretty good. And believe me, you didn't ruin their Christmas because they probably got other gifts from other people anyway, right? So that's another way of doing it. So don't feel that pressure like you must. There are ways to either minimize it or postpone it so that you don't feel bad. So that's what I got in terms of holiday shopping. As always, thank you for tuning in. If you have any questions, always feel free to reach out, Luis at onmywaytowealth.com. If you have a topic that you'd like me to discuss on the show or somebody that you'd like me to interview, I would love an intro. Send me an email, Luis at onmywaytowealth.com. I wish you a happy holiday season. I hope your family stays healthy and happy and on their way to wealth. And thank you for tuning in. And I'll see you in the next episode. Thank you for listening to On My Way to Wealth. If you have any questions, please send me an email at luis at onmywaytowealth.com. The information provided here is for information and education purposes only. The opinions expressed herein are solely those of myself, unless otherwise specifically cited. Material presented is believed to be from reliable sources, and no representations are made by my firm or myself about other parties' information or accuracy or completeness. All information or ideas provided should be discussed in detail with a financial advisor, accountant, or legal counsel prior to implementation. Thank you.